Welcome back to the channel, my friends and coin lovers around the world. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story of a coin that on the surface looks so ordinary that most people would overlook it without a second thought. Yet hidden beneath that small copper-plated surface lies the potential for life-changing value. And that coin is none other than the 1994 Lincoln 1 cent, which in certain rare error and mistake varieties has been known to sell for as much as $300,000. And in this video we are going to break down exactly why this little piece of metal that was produced in the billions could suddenly command such staggering amounts of money, and we will explore the possibilities, the minting process, the errors, the misstrikes, the double dies, the off-center strikes, the planchet problems, the weak strikes, the die clashes, the repunched mint marks, the transitional errors, the broad strikes, the clipped planchets, the lamination errors, and the overall rarity that makes a 1994 penny worth more than houses, cars, or even a lifetime of savings. So sit tight, grab your favorite drink, and let us embark on a journey that reveals just how ordinary coins can become extraordinary treasures that make collectors scramble and compete to add them into their collections. Because when we talk about the 1994 penny, we are talking about a coin that was minted during a time when the US Mint was producing billions of coins with ever-increasing technology, but still not immune to mistakes that slip past quality control, and these mistakes are what create the most desirable varieties for collectors today. For example, one of the most well-known categories is the double die, where the design elements like the date 1994, the word liberty, or the famous motto "In God We Trust" appear double due to a hubbing error during die preparation. And if the doubling is strong and visible to the naked eye, then the value skyrockets because it is not just a minor variety, but a dramatic minting anomaly that excites collectors. Another class of valuable errors are the off-center strikes, where the coin is not properly seated in the press and the design is struck partially off the blank, creating coins where Lincoln's face is shifted to one side, sometimes leaving large blank areas of copper, and the further off-center without losing the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. Especially in 1994, where high-quality examples have been recorded, selling for massive sums. Then we have die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies hit each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghostly impressions of one design onto the other die, and then onto the struck coins, so you might see faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on the obverse or traces of Lincoln's profile on the reverse, and these dramatic clash dies can make a coin instantly desirable. Then there are lamination errors, where impurities or flaws in the metal cause parts of the surface to peel, split, or crack, giving each coin a unique appearance, and collectors love these when they are dramatic and centered on key features of the coin. Yet another group are repunched mint marks, especially on 1994 cents from the Denver Mint marked with AD, where you can see remnants of an earlier punch underneath or to the side of the final mint mark, a tiny detail but highly collectible. And sometimes you find broad strikes where the collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking fails and the coin spreads out wider and thinner than usual, creating a distorted yet fascinating piece that is immediately recognized as an error. But perhaps the most exciting are transitional errors, where the coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or metal composition. For example, in the 1990s the US Mint used zinc cores with copper plating for cents. But every now and then a blank of a different metal, such as the earlier bronze composition or even a foreign planchet, could be fed into the press, and when a 1994 cent is struck on the wrong metal, the rarity is through the roof and the value can soar to hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially if authenticated by top grading services. And speaking of grading services, this is another factor in value, because a coin with an error is worth much more if it is certified by PCGS or NGC with a high grade such as MS65 or above, since collectors are not only paying for the error but also for the condition of the coin. And when you combine a dramatic mint error with pristine surfaces, you get record-breaking sales. And when we examine auction records and dealer reports, we see that 1994 pennies with spectacular errors have changed hands privately for amounts nearing $300,000, which shocks many people who assume pennies are worthless or just pocket change. But that is the magic of numismatics, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary through the lens of rarity, history, and collector demand. And when we think about possibilities for finding such coins, it makes the hobby even more exciting because these treasures are still out there hiding in jars, drawers, change rolls from banks, estate sales, or even pocket change, and people who take the time to look closely are sometimes rewarded with life-changing discoveries. Imagine buying a roll of cents for 50 cents at the bank and inside you spot an off-metal strike or dramatic double die from 1994 that could pay off a mortgage, buy a new car, or fund a college education. That is why so many collectors never tire of searching, because the potential reward is immense. And beyond financial gain, there is also the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the satisfaction of preserving something so unique. And when we trace the root causes of these errors, it brings us into the complex world of minting technology, where dies are engraved and hubbed, blanks are cut from metal sheets, planchets are annealed and washed, coins are struck under immense pressure, and even the most sophisticated systems sometimes fail, letting a few mistakes slip through into circulation, and those mistakes are the lucky finds for collectors today. So whether you are new to coin collecting or a seasoned numismatist, understanding the story of the 1994 penny and why it can be worth $300,000 teaches you a valuable lesson, which is to always check your coins carefully because you never know what fortune might be sitting unnoticed in your hand. And as we continue through the different varieties, let us not forget the role of demand, because rarity alone does not create value. It is the intense interest of collectors competing to own these pieces that drives prices to astronomical levels. And in the case of the 1994 penny, there is a perfect storm of factors. Billions were minted, making it familiar and accessible. Errors slipped through in enough numbers to spark collector interest, but not so many as to diminish rarity, and the enduring popularity of Lincoln Cents as the most collected series in U.S. coinage history ensures a constant demand for any special variety, which means prices continue to rise year after year. And if we think about the psychology behind this, it is clear that collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying a piece of history. A story of human error in an age of machines, a tangible reminder that perfection is rare and imperfection can be priceless. And when auction houses present these coins with glossy catalogs and excited bidders, the atmosphere becomes electric, each bid climbing higher, the room buzzing with anticipation. And when the hammer finally falls at hundreds of thousands of dollars, the audience gasps, proving once again that a penny is never just a penny. And as you watch this video, maybe you are thinking about that jar of coins you have at home, or the spare change rattling in your car. And I encourage you to look closely, to study the details, to learn what errors to spot, because the next great discovery could be in your possession already. And if you do find something unusual, do not rush to spend it or toss it aside. Get it authenticated, researched, and appraised, because you might be holding a coin worth more than you ever dreamed. And as we wrap up this journey into the 1994 penny, remember that the world of coin collecting is not just about numbers and prices. It is about curiosity, patience, learning, and appreciation for the artistry and history in our hands every day. So thank you for joining me in this deep exploration of how a 1994 Lincoln 1 cent with the right errors and mistakes can be worth $300,000, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc transformed into a treasure beyond imagination. And I hope this inspires you to check your coins more carefully, to keep searching, and to stay connected with us for more incredible stories of coins worth big money. So until next time, keep collecting, keep hunting, and who knows, the next great discovery could be yours. Next, 1998 1 cent USA coin. We are continuing our epic journey through the fascinating world of Lincoln cents and rare errors that transformed the smallest denomination in American coinage into life-changing jackpots. And this time we are going to dive into the story of the 1998 1 cent coin, a coin that to most people is just an ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc worth a single cent, tossed into piggy banks, forgotten in drawers, or spent without a thought. Yet for those who understand the secrets of minting mistakes and rare varieties, this coin can be worth an astonishing $200,000. And in this script I am going to walk you through exactly why such an ordinary-looking coin carries such extraordinary potential. So get comfortable, because this will be a deep exploration stretching across thousands of words, a single unbroken journey into the details, the possibilities, the errors, and the reasons why a 1998 penny can command such staggering prices. And as always, I welcome you to the channel, invite you to stay tuned for more amazing stories, and encourage you to keep your eyes on your change because these treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Now let us begin by setting the scene. The year is 1998. The U.S. Mint is striking billions of Lincoln cents as part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Design Series. A design first introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and for almost 40 years this design has been in the pockets of Americans everywhere. By the late 1990s, technology at the Mint was advanced but not perfect. Mistakes still slip through, and those mistakes are what fuel our passion and create fortunes today. Because collectors are not paying for ordinary coins, they are paying for extraordinary stories captured in metal. And in 1998 there were several fascinating varieties and eras that have become legendary in numismatic circles, starting with perhaps the most famous, the 1998 Wide AM Reverse variety. This era happened because in the late 1990s the Mint was preparing new dies for the upcoming design change in 2000, where the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse was slightly different. In 1998 and 1999 most cents were struck with the close AM design where the A and M nearly touch. But a few dies were mistakenly prepared with the wide AM reverse meant for proof coins, and these slipped into regular circulation, meaning that if you find a 1998 penny with a wide AM reverse, you are holding a major variety, and while circulated examples might bring hundreds or thousands of dollars, pristine uncirculated examples certified by top grading services can climb into six figures. And some reports from private sales suggest that rare high-grade examples have sold for up to $200,000 to collectors determined to complete their variety sets. Imagine the shock of someone realizing that the penny in their hand with just a slightly wider spacing of 2 letters is worth more than a luxury sports car. And this is only one of the stories behind the 1998 cent, because beyond the wide AM variety we also have dramatic double die obverse, where the hubbing process created strong doubling in elements like the date, liberty, or the motto In God We Trust, and the stronger and clearer the doubling, the higher the value. A dramatic double die from 1998 in mint state condition could easily become a headline coin, attracting collectors and auction houses eager to set new records. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the coin is misaligned in the press, producing pennies where Lincoln's portrait is shifted and large blank areas of planchet are visible. Collectors pay top dollar for these, especially when the date remains intact, and a spectacular off-center 1998 penny can fetch tens of thousands. But in combination with other dramatic errors the values can rise even further. Then we have coins struck on wrong planchets, one of the most exciting categories of all. Sometimes a dime blank or foreign planchet accidentally makes its way into the cent press, resulting in a Lincoln cent design on the wrong metal, and these coins are both extremely rare and extremely valuable. For example, a 1998 cent struck on a dime planchet would be smaller, lighter, and silver in color. A dramatic mistake that collectors would fight over, and such a coin authenticated by PCGS or NGC could command up to $200,000. Then we must consider die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of the reverse design on the obverse or vice versa, making each coin unique and fascinating. Collectors love strong clash die errors, especially when the outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appear behind Lincoln's portrait, or when you can see traces of Lincoln's head floating on the reverse, each one telling the story of a dramatic mint accident. Then there are broad strikes, where the collar that holds the planchet in place during striking fails, allowing the coin to expand outwards with distorted edges, another highly collectible mistake. Lamination errors also occurred where impurities in the metal or problems in bonding the copper plating to the zinc core caused the surface to peel, split, or bubble, creating unique textures that turn ordinary cents into conversation pieces. And then we have repunched mint marks, especially on the 1998 D coins from Denver, where the D mint mark may show traces of an earlier impression beneath it, a small detail but highly sought after by specialists. All of these varieties, whether dramatic or subtle, contribute to the excitement surrounding the 1998 penny, but what makes some of them worth $200,000 comes down to rarity, demand, and condition. Because a coin must not only have an error but also be preserved in high mint state grade to attract record bids, collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for the combination of rarity and condition, because it is not just a coin but a trophy, a centerpiece for their collection. And when we think about auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers presenting such coins, the bidding wars can become intense, prices climbing higher with each click or call. And when the hammer finally falls at $200,000, the world takes notice, reminding us once again that tiny details make a world of difference in numismatics. What is so thrilling about this story is that these coins are still out there. Not all of them have been discovered. Many might still be sitting unnoticed in jars of change, in bank rolls waiting to be opened, in estate collections, or even in circulation, and that means the possibility is real for ordinary people to make extraordinary discoveries. Picture yourself finding a wide AM 1998 penny in brilliant condition, sending it for grading, and watching it come back as a top population example. Suddenly you are holding a fortune in your hand, and that is why the hobby never gets old. The potential for discovery is endless, and the stories behind these coins inspire new collectors every day. When we dig deeper into the psychology of collecting, we see that it is not just about money, it is about history. About owning a mistake that slipped through the cracks of one of the most secure and controlled production facilities in the world. About preserving a piece of imperfection that becomes perfection in the eyes of collectors. And that is why prices reach such heights. It is not just copper and zinc, it is art, history, accident, rarity, and desire all fused into one small disc. So as we reflect on the 1998 penny worth $200,000, we realize that every coin in our pockets holds potential, every cent deserves a closer look. Because the next great discovery could be yours, and that is why we continue making these videos, to educate, inspire, and remind everyone that treasure is everywhere if you are willing to look. So thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of the 1998 penny, a humble coin turned into a legendary collectible. And may this inspire you to check your change, search those rolls, and never overlook even the smallest coin, because sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest value. And as we continue this series, we will uncover even more incredible stories of coins worth big money. So stay tuned, keep collecting, and who knows, the next rare penny worth $200,000 could be in your hand right now.